Good evening, Scotland. Good evening, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Saturday the 17th of August. Yes, it's definitely August, I'm pretty sure. 2024. I hope you're all good. We had a little bit of trouble there with the Facebook page. It's not responding to the stream key that was a perpetual stream key, so I'm not going to be chucking a live stream out on there tonight. It's just going to be TikTok and YouTube, much to the disappointment of myself. I don't know why it's done that. I'm just a bit frustrated. So we're going to do a quick sound check to make sure everybody on the different platforms can hear me. First of all, I will give me a thumbs up in TikTok land if you can hear me okay. I'm making sure that it's okay. And anybody that is sitting there, I can actually check this myself. Hold on a second. Get the pad of eyes out here. Where is the volume on this? There it is. Oh yeah, sounds kind of funky. All good in the hood. Superb. Right, so before we begin, we need to do a quick jingle just to remind all you lovely people exactly what, oh hang on, we are about. Why is that not working? I know why it's not working. It's because you're getting that thing up there instead. It's that one we want, and we don't want one up there. It's still not working. We start our lives with an important reminder that we are fighting one of the world's greatest propaganda machines, the British state and their right-wing oligarch-run media. To combat this, we ask that you always follow, like and share, and comment positively across all social media platforms on any of your favourite Scottish independence creators and commentators. By doing this, you help to spread the word of our cause and manipulate social media algorithms to benefit our struggle. So please, for now, like and share this live stream, and if you haven't already, follow this account. Thank you. Okie dokie. So, are we got an echo? Let me just check. Yeah, why is that coming through as an echo there? That is weird. Do we still have an echo? I think that's because my microphone's picking up that other bit there just now. Hold on, let me do it quietly. I'll do it quietly. Hold on. It's not echoing anymore. Thank you very much, Chris. Cool as a cucumber. A cumber. Cool as a cucumber. Nonsense. Right, okay, let's just get straight into this. A couple of wee things that we're going to talk about tonight. Where is my notes? Here they are. Fantastic. Right. So the first one is, as an independence movement, okay, why are we not considering voting in a pro-independence opposition with our second votes in Holyrood? Why are we not even talking about that? Is it because at the end of the day we don't like the other politicians? Is it at the end of the day that we're just too wrapped up in the political hegemony of the SNP? I don't know, but to me, if we were all pro-independence and we were wanting to deliver independence from a political standpoint, we should be aiming to get as many people into Parliament, into the Scottish Parliament, that is pro-independence. That would make sense to me in no other manner or form. The second talking point tonight is, what would you do to build a better Scotland? And that is on the back of the Believe in Scotland Citizens Convention that is coming up soon. Fingers crossed. Well, there's the first meeting for putting it together next week, which is groovy. Groovy. So what we'll do now, okay, is I usually open up the boxes at this time. Let's see who we have to send an invite to. There is Aaron. There is Liv. Vinny, you're welcome to come in as well. I'll stick you down there. Chris, are you still hiding? I'll stick you down there. Oh, I just heard my own voice in my head, in my ear there. Why did that happen? Hello. Maybe somebody has the what's it called on? A speaker on something. It might have been you, Aaron, with a speaker on there when I heard myself when you just came in there, which is all okay. That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's all good now. It's all good now, and we'll stick the panel cam on just now as well. Amazing. Very good. Very good. How are you tonight, Liv and Aaron? You okay?
Huh?
Good. Were you both working the day?
No, I was off.
Me too.
I spent about 4 or 5 hours trying to write all my book, and then my laptop updated and undone all my progress. I was fucking raging.
Oh, a shame. There's a man in YouTube just now that is there's an expert with computers. I'm sure if you... Oh, what's that? Is that you getting messages, Aaron? You're such a popular lad, eh? You know?
Nah, it was just you, and then somebody was tagging a post on Facebook. I really don't care, mate. Just leave me alone.
Okay, good. Were you working today, Liv?
Oh yeah, I've been up since 5.
Oh my goodness. That's a long time to be up for. I come back to work on Monday. Not very happy, to say the least. But that's that. Right, listen, I'm going to go straight into talking about the two things that I've wanted to talk about tonight, and hopefully I'll get to play some jingles and do a couple of little, what's it called? Do a couple of, just try to get them to work properly compared to last night, really, to be perfectly honest. Barry, just so you know, Red Rooster is my second youngest son in the chat. By all means, ban him, silence him, whatever you want to do. Barry's moderating across in YouTube land just now, which is good. He's already taken the mickey out of me twice tonight. You can't hear me? What do you mean you can't hear me? Hold on. You guys can hear me okay, yeah? Yeah, YouTube you can hear me. You're talking nonsense. Maybe it was earlier. I don't know. Right. So the first talking point tonight that I basically wanted to bring up was why are we not even considering a pro-independence opposition in Holyrood? It's something that's a no-brainer for me. We should be considering using the second vote in a manner that is conducive to voting in as many pro-independence people as possible. And it's something I don't understand why we're not considering. We always seem to vote in such a manner or form to bring in a pro-unionist opposition, and all they do is sit there and basically belittle Scotland. That's their job, is just not even to act as an opposition, not even to hold to account. Their whole demeanour is basically just to take the mickey out of Scotland and to project a Scotland bad way of doing things. The voting system that we actually use for the second method is a method of proportional representation called the D'Hondt calculation, and that allows for things like that to happen. You know, it's allows for smaller parties to get in on what they call the list or the regional vote, and it's a great opportunity to bring in like independent candidates that are pro-indie, or smaller parties like ISP, Alapa, or the Greens. I consider the Greens to be a bit bigger than both of them. For me, okay, people might not like to vote in for Alapa, and I don't understand why we don't vote for other parties other than the SNP with our second vote, simply because we could put more indie bums on seats, and that would send such an incredible message to the world saying, hey, look at us, we have several pro-independence parties in Holyrood. Some are in the opposition, and then we've got the leading party of government as well, working with them as a minority government perhaps. Would this be a better way forward? I think so. I think that not having unionist people in Holyrood is definitely the way forward to do things. And would this not demonstrate our goal of independence and to deliver an indie majority on both sides of the House? I think that it would. I think when people start to see that and see how these parties could work together to deliver for Scotland within the constraints of devolution, I reckon that would be a very positive thing to do. And now is the time that we need to start having these conversations, because we'll find by the time it reaches 2026, if we start having the conversations then we're going to be in a position where it'll be too late and people will just start going, no, it's not right, SNP 1 and 2, and that is the only way and the only way to do it. And for me, I honestly think that we need to be thinking about it more now than ever before.
My name is Kinnuch, and I want to build a better Scotland by creating a fairer, more equal society where the country's success and prosperity is measured by the people's happiness and well-being. What would you do to build a better Scotland?
Okie dokie. That was a little jingle by Ken, who is in our chit-chat and our side chat just now. Good evening, Ken. Thank you for joining us as well. Can you still hear me okay? Oh, that sounds like a bit of an echo. There we go. That might be better now. Can you hear me, Ken? Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, good. That's okay. Brilliant. Just checking. Thank you for coming in and joining us. I appreciate it, my friend. The guys in the panel won't have heard the jingle there at all, but I just want to make sure, did everybody else hear the words to the jingle out in the audience in both YouTube land and TikTok land? Fingers crossed that you did. Good. That's great. Thank you, Danny. That's brilliant. I am getting used to clicking the right buttons to do the right things. One day, Barry, I'll be a complete human being and not make as many mistakes, mate, okay? Fingers crossed anyway. Right, so what do you think then, friends in the chat, about delivering a pro-independence opposition, and why have we not done it before? What do you think?
Because probably everybody's thinking we should deliver a pro-independence government instead of delivering a pro-independence opposition.
But we should be doing both, though, shouldn't we? We could use our second vote to put more indie bums on seats and have more people on the opposite side of the chamber.
100%.
Delivering like more people to the thing. I get that completely, how people will be focused on that the government thing, because that's what we want. We want a fully fledged government, and we want a fleshed out government, ideally one that's in a majority, but to get that's going to be really, really tough to do, I think, again this time round. But you know,
I'll vote for Alba to get rid of this feckin' fly in my room.
Right.
Piss off.
Got a wee fly, have you? Maybe you should take the dirty dishes back to the kitchen then, mate. Okay.
Excuse me, I don't have any dirty dishes.
Only joking. You know I'm kidding.
Well,
no.
I mean, I use SNP 1 Alba 2 when it comes to Scottish Parliament elections.
Barry's saying across in YouTube land, show me a pro-indie party that's not actually opportunistic, backstabbers, or just outright attacking each other. You're right. It's a case of, like, I feel that that's a great description right across independence movement. I was speaking to a young lady tonight, friend of Ken's, asked me to meet this person, having a wee sort of video chat with her and Ken, and she agrees completely that the whole independence movement seems to be fractured as a whole, and I find it a bit crazy, to be perfectly honest. It's a bit disappointing. You look at somewhere like Catalonia, where there's about half a dozen independence parties, and they could muster together and rise above their differences within the political sphere and put 1 million people on the streets. It's much more difficult for them now, because the last time they did anything like that, they ended up with the national police coming up with their big sticks and beating them senseless, which is pretty poor. But do you know something? They had the right idea of working together for independence. We don't seem to do that. We seem to blame each other and backstab each other from a political entity. This is why politics, for me, will never ever deliver independence. It will never deliver independence. I said last night in the live that activists make waves and politicians ride the waves. So we need to make the waves that the politicians will actually ride upon, and fingers crossed that those waves that we put together will be ones which are positive for Scotland, knowing what Scotland wants, and introduces a national conversation to be able to turn round and kind of give something to everybody in a sphere. That's what we'll talk about in a minute, is building a better Scotland. 1 second, Ken, I'll get you back in just now, mate. Hold on, there you are. Cool. Brilliant. That's Ken coming in again. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. What does the rest of you feel about delivering more opposition, people that are pro-indie, into Holyrood? Good evening, Tam, by the way.
Great idea.
Evening, Mo.
What do you think, Liv? I don't know. Liv, you're on mute if you're trying to speak, pal. Tam, what do you think? What do you think, Tam, about delivering more people into the opposition?
I think the more pro-indie bums on seats in Holyrood, the better.
Yeah.
Accountability more, not. I mean, this is what I'm getting at, not. I mean, within the independence movement.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, I do feel that progress independence a hell of a lot quicker than anything that's been done so far.
I think that politics is only one element of it all. Tam, I just don't believe that politicians or a political entity will end up delivering independence, because the constraints of the constitutional agreement prevents any form of legal wrangling to be able to be accepted by Westminster because of the legalities of it all. I mean, we can stand up and talk about, UDIs and things like that, but they're very dangerous for credibility, to be perfectly honest. We can talk about our ancient constitution, which still stands, and that's just something that perhaps maybe with Salvo and Liberation Scot, I believe that they're doing something unique and different by taking it to the international community. But another Saorsa in the chat there has said, any thoughts about Believe in Scotland? That's where I'm going on to next. I think Believe in Scotland as a civic organisation is not too shabby. I like the blogs and the pamphlets that Gordon McIntyre Kemp puts out. I think they're quite well written and they're easy to read, so they're very educational. And I believe that the Citizens' Convention that they're putting together will be something that will take the independence movement a bit forward, but we'll come on to that in just a second there. Believe in Scotland as a whole, though, it's a grassroots organisation. It's quite a well organised sort of, it's not like Believe in Scotland, we are the grassroots. It's like a lot of grassroots organisations under that umbrella of Believe in Scotland. Saorsa, this my account and my little campaigning group of these wonderful people that I hang out with, we are, as a little organisation, are affiliated with Believe in Scotland. If you go to if you type in Believe in Scotland affiliates and go to the National Yes groups, you will see our website as one of them there. simply because we have members of the SNP, we have members of ALAPA, we've got members of minority communities all in here, and we need to be able to put something in place that everybody feels comfortable about. And I feel that Believe in Scotland is probably one of the better routes to actually go down. What do you think? How does everybody feel about that? Don't all jump at once. Sam?
Thingy.
Oh.
I was in the. Remember, I went to the Believe in Scotland rally with you. We went to the march and the rally.
Yeah.
Good laugh.
It was good, yeah. It was a bit different.
It was a better atmosphere, and then you had that cabbage, Robbie Thomason. You know what I mean?
Tommy Robinson.
Square, kidding on his hard.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm got all these mad grannies. I pulled out the care homes. You know what I mean? Go on.
No, the two Believe in Scotland marches have been very positive. I find I like all the marches. I like the all under one banner ones. What I don't like is people turning around and saying that the all under one banner ones are ALAPA marches and the Believe in Scotland are SNP ones, because when the movement starts talking about things like that, it's that polarising field again. Okay, the Believe in Scotland one is open to everybody. There was a bit of controversy with an ALAPA speaker when they did that last time. And, you know, I don't know whether Gordon McIntyre Kemp has received an invitation or has had letters answered from All Under One Banner when, you know, going forward to be a speaker at their marches. I don't know the politics between them all. What I do know is that Believe in Scotland is a non-political entity, and it's going to stay that way, as far as I know, and good that it does. But what it does do is it allows the Yes groups all over the country to work together and to have a central point that is not political, to be able to share information, to be able to campaign together for independence, which is pretty good. Saorsa again is asking questions there about there as an alternative to the SNP they could be viable. They're not, because Believe in Scotland are not a political entity. Gordon McIntyre Kemp wholeheartedly believes the same direction that I believe in, which is politicians will not deliver independence. There has never been a political movement as a whole that has ever delivered constitutional change to any country, to be perfectly honest. It's always been activists and people that are inspiring speech makers and maybe leaders within the working class and stuff like that have actually stood up and delivered a constitutional change across the world. Playwrights, songwriters, poets, people like that, and that's something we have to come to terms with. But afterwards, these people tend to become politicians and leaders within it all. The greatest example of that is Nelson Mandela. I mean, he spent most of his life in prison because he was an activist, an anti-apartheid activist. But when he came out, he basically became the first president of South Africa, you know, as without apartheid. And that's something that is unbelievably positive, in my opinion, as a whole. The Saorsa saying what they said there meant not a political party, they could be viable for independence. Yes, I think that the route that they're taking is definitely something different and something a bit more positive. I should sue Saorsa for copyright. Nah, not at all. I won't be doing that. But it's a good question though, Saorsa. I'm going to have to call you Saorsa 2 so people don't get confused and think that I'm actually talking to myself as a whole.
Good idea. Call him Jimmy.
Call him Jimmy. Okay, we'll call him Jimmy. Jimmy Sue. So...
No, here. It's regarding independence. Blatantly, I feel that we need a route and a guided route towards independence, how it's going to be achieved.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody's coming up with that, do you know what I mean? The last we got to hear was we're not going to get granted a Section 30 for Westminster, so there's no point in looking at that, do you know what I mean? Referenda, do you know what I mean? It's the same as rigged the last time round, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't see that as being a viable option neither.
No, it's a Section 30 is never going to come. As a whole,
we need this route, do you know what I mean? Towards independence and how we go about it, as in the people, not as in a political entity or organisation or even a political party for that matter.
Agreed, totally agreed. The slide I've just put up there just now, would you build what would you do to build a better Scotland, is something that Believe in Scotland is going to be talking about. It's part of the Scottish Citizens Convention that will be coming up soon. Okay, it's something that you can hear the jingles that I've put together, that I've had a good few members of Saorsa use their own voices on a very simple jingle. I've got your one, by the way, Tam. I need to go in and engineer it. Thank you for sending me that last night. I've not engineered it yet, I've not had time. So I've got Jackie, myself, Aaron, Kareem and Ken that have all done them, and it's all based, my name is Jackie. It's not really, but we'll say Jackie just now. And I want to build a better Scotland by doing something. And this is something I want to ask everybody in both chats, in Facebook, in YouTube and in TikTok as well. Take politics out of the question. Don't think about politics. Don't even consider politics when you're thinking about this. I want you to be as creative as possible, right? I want you to consider what you would do. What one thing would you change that you want to change in Scotland, all right? In a practical, proper way that would make lives better. What would you change in Scotland? What would you want to do? Stick it in the chat just now, and we'll talk about that in a second. Mine personally is, I'm all for all the things that everybody always talks about, which is let's make a more secure NHS, let's build more houses for our old people, and etc. Okay, all these things, all those sort of things. Okay, that's all there, and I want, if people write that, just keep writing it, just keep going for it, just do anything at all, stick it in the side chat and let's talk about them. All right, now my biggest one is I want a transport infrastructure that spans the islands, so a land, sea and air transport infrastructure that benefits everybody across the islands, across the highlands, across the central belt, across the borders. Okay, I think the goal for me would be able to travel in a train from Edinburgh to Thurso and then get a ferry from Thurso to Orkney and be in Orkney within 4.5-5 hours. That I love Orkney. Orkney is one of my most favourite places in Scotland. It's where I proposed to my wife. Okay, I would love to be able to get up there for leave in the morning, get there by lunchtime, and then basically get back again in the evening. That's something that I would really, really like to do. So I think that that's just one thing. I think that there'll be plenty more of other things as well. Greater recognition and support for mental health issues, disabilities in general, be accessible more than anything. That's from Barry. And yeah, I agree with that. That's something that's very important. Furry says stop the drug problem. Says, yeah, well, right now we don't have the tools to do that fully. It would be great to do that. And why not? We need to have the social aspects, and political will and the medical capabilities of being able to help people as a whole, which is important. And I think that we should do that. As a whole, I think NHS, a care service, more housing, let's eliminate poverty, let's eliminate child poverty, all these things, and we could talk about these all day, right? And if there's any people that believe in the union in the audience as well, are these not things that you would want to see as well? Stopping the drug problem, having a better infrastructure for transport, having a fully paid for NHS, all these proper things, I think that is absolutely vital to the future of Scotland as a whole. It's something that I firmly believe in. But what is the point in discussing all this? Well, the People's Convention, the Citizens' Convention is something that Believe in Scotland is putting together. There's a 47-page document. Now, if you were to go to, let me just bring up this little one. Okay, what are we on? We don't want that one, we want that one, and we want that image. Sorry, I'm getting the images up there now. That's it, here we go. Right, so if you were to go to lazylinks.co.uk/Saorsa, that is got all the links for all my social medias and things in it, but the very top link of it all is a Believe in Scotland link to a PDF with their document that is the proposal to the Scottish Government for the Scottish Citizens' Convention. Alright, so lazylinks.co.uk, get over onto that, alright, and once you've had a wee look at that, you'll understand a little bit more what they're aiming to actually do. Let me just read from one of the little articles from their website just now. So why are we doing this exercise for building a better Scotland? The National Campaign Steering Group of Believe in Scotland has proposed a new path to independence for Scotland, one that circumnavigates the unfair and completely undemocratic roadblocks set up by Westminster. A citizens' convention means everyone will be heard on this new road to an independent Scotland. So the PDF that I was telling you about is sitting there, and that is like the big proposal for it all. Okay, so the independence movement back in 2014 blossomed during the referendum campaign, but following the result it became too political, focused on political debate and not on the hopes and dreams of the people. A key goal of the Citizens' Convention will be to form a deep understanding of how independence relates not just to the hopes and dreams, but also to the people's daily concerns, so that we can provide relevant solutions to everyday problems. Now, tonight when I was speaking to Claire with Ken, we briefly talked about all this, and one of the daily concerns that she has is something as simple as getting a bus to her next village. You know, and this is something that I found completely fascinating, simply because she doesn't have a regular bus stops at 5 o'clock. It stops at 5 o'clock to get across from one village to another, and I find that totally uncivilised. Why don't they have even buses running until 9 or 10, you know, in the rural part? So there's something that is basically a daily concern for a citizen of Scotland, and being able to implement something positive up there that would relieve that would be an incredible thing to do. So in short, it will refocus the conversation on independence from the echo chambers of social media, where people will take the mickey out of each other and say stupid things because they're just behind a keyboard, to a genuine and far-reaching national conversation again, reconnecting the independence movement with the needs of the people. This proposal is totally original in terms of the scale and planned impact, and it's not comparable to any other form of alternative convention, congress or forum that is currently being discussed in Scotland. The first meeting of this is next week, and I personally is going to be attending it. So next Friday on the show, I'll be reporting back with the juicy gossip from it. But until then, I want you to consider your hopes and dreams and consider your everyday concerns and get ready for a national conversation as a whole. You know, so that's where that stands. Furry, that's a great question, by the way. Why did the SNP get so few votes? Perhaps maybe people were wanting to vote the Tories out. And you know something, independence is not based around the SNP. They're just a political entity. You've got 4 independence parties, and if you want to remain within that, you know, political paradigm, that's entirely up to you. But it's not about politics, is it? It's about the people. And if people want independence, they'll end up getting it. And if they vote like for, you know, less bums on seats in Westminster to get the Tories out, I'm all for that. I know a good few solid SNP voters that voted for Labour in Scotland because they wanted to get the Tories out. By God, they got them out. But do you know something? Labour are doing such a sterling job just now, really, aren't they? Let's cut the winter fuel allowance. Let's further the fleecing of Scotland's resources by putting not just one, but 4 energy cables down the coast. I think I've still got that image, actually. Let me just have a wee looky-loo. Panel came. I think I do have it still. Image 4. Yeah, there it is. Brilliant. Let me just pop this up on the screen as well just now. So what I've put up here just now, the blue lines down the east coast of Scotland, are all power cables that are going to be taking and sucking the energy from our renewables and delivering it to our brothers and sisters down in England. Okay, from Torness to Hawthorne Pit. There's already one from Hunterston to Flintshire Bridge in Wales. Oh, that's already sitting there. You know, it's, if you're not angry about that, you know, they took advantage of our oil and gas industry as a whole, and now our renewables. Wow. You know, at the end of the day, that says to me there, okay, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with, you know, the whole of this union. We get the electricity flowing out of Scotland down south, and then it comes back up to Scotland through the national grid, and we get overcharged from it. In Portugal, they produce 91% of their energy through renewables. All right? And they've got the cheapest power prices in the European Union. In Scotland, we produce 110%, or have the potential and have done on several occasions, 110% of the energy that we have generated in Scotland. And we've got the highest prices of energy in Europe. And that says something. It really, really does. At the end of the day, how do you guys feel about a citizens' convention, something on the scale of actually surveying between 40 and 60,000 people across Scotland to get their views, their hopes and dreams and their daily concerns down on paper? I'll tell you what's going to happen with that in a minute once we've had this little discussion. What do you think?
I think it's a smashing idea.
I was at one in 2017.
Mm-hmm. Which one was that?
It was called Build Bridges to Indy, the one that was near Shire Hall in Edinburgh.
And what was the purpose of that? What was the purpose of that one?
It was just basically an update, you know what I mean, and what's been on from 2014 to 2017 and where we go from there.
And what did they say about, nothing finalised, nothing?
Nah. It was basically a meeting towards another meeting sort of interaction. Mr. Salmon was part of the convention at the time, and as I say, the hall was packed. It really was a positive thing, you know what I mean? But it didn't seem to go anywhere more, you know what I mean, for there, and that was back in 2017, as I say.
Mm-hmm. So the purpose of this convention, right, is, well, if we go back to 2014, Better Together surveyed about 40,000 people in Scotland to find out what was their biggest concerns regarding independence. Okay, and their biggest concerns, lo and behold, was pensions, currency, border, and the EU. At which all those questions can be answered now quite convincingly. And they used those things to scare the living daylights out of people as a whole. And it worked. So we're doing a similar thing. Well, not we. The convention will do a similar thing where they will want to survey between 40 and 60,000 people to look at what Scotland wants, basically, to what we need to build a better Scotland. And once they've got that and they've generated a report from it and they've put it all together, they'll go to the convention will go to Holyrood and say, look, this is what Scotland wants. Can you deliver this? And they'll say, well, we could give that a go. We can't do that. That's reserved. getting rid of nuclear weapons is definitely reserved. There's so many things we can do and so many things that we can't do, but the things that we can do would require more money. So, no, they can't do it. That's pretty straight up. They can't do it. Then we sort of like take the same report and go down to Westminster and say, hey, Westminster, can you deliver this? And they'll go, well, we could, but it means more money to you, doesn't it, at the end of the day? So, no, they're not going to do it. So the only way after that is to come back to Holyrood and say to the political entities and the political entities that will be standing in 2026 and say, you guys need to work together right now, and on the back of this, work together to put more indie bums on seats, as in, people within the opposition. Let's say everything in a perfect storm comes together in the SNP, do not field any list seats, and all the people that wouldn't have voted for them, within the independence movement because they're frustrated with the lack of progress or just the whole SNP story as a whole, we need to be convinced to vote for them. And I'm pretty sure that when you put independence right at the top of the agenda and say, this is going to be a plebiscite referendum, this is so we can demonstrate to the world that we want our independence. So we have asked Scotland, what do they want? This is in the manifestos, right? We've asked Scotland what they want. Scotland said we want A, B, C and D. We can't deliver that just now as a devolved parliament, but we can deliver it as an independent nation. So if you vote for this, this is it. This is us demonstrating clearly that that we're going to have an independent Scotland. 1 second, I'm going to bring somebody else in just now. Thank you for the message there, Ken. Where is he? I don't see him. I don't see Kareem. Are you there, Kareem? If you request, buddy, I'll get you in. I didn't see you come in. But that's the purpose of the convention. It's actually got a route, a roadmap, so to say, Tam, to gaining independence. So let's say everything falls into place and we vote and we've got like a massive majority of independents, MSPs. The union can still turn around and say, no, you're not getting your independence. We don't recognise that. But that's when we have to go international after then. But democracy is a powerful thing. And if we vote clearly that we want our independence and it's treated as a plebiscite referendum, which you can legally do and is legally recognised internationally to be able to be considered as a decision made by people within a nation, then there's no going back from that, as a whole, because then Westminster wouldn't just become sort of like a vanilla democracy denier. They would become a hardcore red room democracy denier, and that's something that they're going to have to deal with, because at the end of the day, we're going to have our independence. People are going to want that, and I believe that the convention will have the ability to convince so many more people that are undecided presently. Does that sound achievable, Tam?
Yes and no.
Tell me no.
There is
Tell me
the
what's
issue
the no.
that I honestly don't believe that either Westminster or Holyrood can deliver independence.
No, they can't.
There is no route.
But this can. There's outside of like pitchforks and torches and the peasants rising, and violence. If it turned to violence, we'll lose every time. We don't have the ability to stand up and have our own version of the Troubles sustained over the next 40 years to bring in constitutional change. Why do people have to bleed? Because an entity denies democracy. I'm not for that in the slightest. What I'm for is the ability for us to turn around and use a democratic process to say to the world, we have asked the people of Scotland, what do they want? And they have said they want these things. Westminster are not willing, and Holyrood cannot deliver them. But if we were an independent nation, we can. Political entities in Scotland that are pro-Indy turn round and work together to turn and do those things. On their manifesto, deliver more bums on seats for independence, and that's the toughest bit, will be to get the political entities in Scotland to work together. That will be the toughest thing to do. However, it's not an impossible task. Okay, the waves will be made by the activists that are working within the convention, and then the politicians will have to ride them. Because if they don't ride them in 2026, there'll have to be an alternative political entity created to ride them as a whole, you know. Saorsa Jimmy in the chat there is basically sounds like a massive task. Yeah, it is. It's going to cost about £2.5 million probably to do something like this. It's a big task. Where does that money come from? That's well above my pay scale to decide where that money comes from. I couldn't even begin to tell you. But there are snippets of funding coming from somewhere for it, which will be very interesting. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, Mo.
No.
My issue seems to be that I don't see any sort of push for any major political party here in Scotland for independence. It seems to be just sound bites. Lo and behold, that's all we've been getting since 2014. No actual push for any serious political party.
And that's the whole point of this, though, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
You not think that's the whole point of this?
Lo and behold, Mo, know what I mean? As I say, is it actually going to achieve something?
Well, what?
That's what's got to be asked.
So then we just sit back and watch our marches dwindle and your beautiful big saltire gather dust in your garden shed. Okay, we have to do something, and as you have just demonstrated clearly, the political parties are just sound bites and rhetoric. They're riding the waves. They're riding the waves that have been created in the past. You know, we're going to do independence this way. We're going to treat every single ballot box event as a plebiscite. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And as you say, it's just not happened. It's really, really not happened at all. So we have to consider an alternative, and the alternative is right now we are addicted to politics, and you've demonstrated, okay, not you personally, but you've demonstrated by your comment that we are addicted to politics. We're relying on people that we're becoming disillusioned about. So what can they offer us? They can't offer us anything. They can't, because it's not politicians that will deliver constitutional change. They will not deliver our liberty. It will be people like you having a conversation in Greg's. It'll be like me having a conversation at the coffee machine at work. You know, it's all these things which are absolutely vital to have the conversations, that national conversation. Did you hear that Believe in Scotland have put together this massive get together, this convention where they're going to survey about 45, 50, 60,000 people about what Scotland wants. And it's got nothing to do with politics. It's about what we want. Oh my God, they finished that survey. The report comes out next week. I wonder what it's going to say. Oh, it said, oh yeah, I wanted that. I wanted those things. That's brilliant. All right, so now it's been delivered to Holyrood. They can't do anything because...
I don't know if you caught what Corbyn was saying.
What was he saying?
Mr Corbyn is now apparently in favour of another referendum on Scottish independence.
That would be great, but why do we have to? I just don't like the idea of getting permission to do something. This takes, what you've got is constitutional roadblocks set up by Westminster through legislation and legalities and their media and their sound bites and all that nonsense. A great example of that is Furry again saying, but the people had a vote and said no, and the polls still show it's too close to call. Furry, we started at 22% in 2014 and it's sustained round about 50-50 for 10 years. Okay, I will take a 50-50 start on any independence referendum campaign, because Better Together have absolutely nothing positive other than what you're saying there. Oh, you said no, you had your chance. No, mate. It doesn't work that way. Democracy is fluid. Democracy is a good thing, and people are allowed to change their minds. And what you have is a whole different generation of people that are 18 now that can turn round and vote. And my son's generation, and every single one of them that I know, are pro-Indie and would vote SNP, would vote for the Greens, would vote for ALPA, would vote for ISP, would vote yes. So it's a shame that you feel that way with it. And I do, it's too close to call. But you put down what Scotland wants from this document, all right, from this survey, this convention, in front of the people and say, this is achievable with independence. It's not achievable because Westminster don't want to do it. Holyrood can't do it. The only way to do it is to come together and actually vote yes. And then we move forward. And then you have an incredible large backing for independence as a whole. But no, you're absolutely right, Tam. At the end of the day, I feel that politics, they have a purpose to serve with this, and that is our ability to put a cross in a box, to have a legal ballot box event. They have a duty to govern the country as best as possible because they're elected officials. That is their job, to maintain doing that. It's our job to convince the undecided. The hardcore no people, you're wasting your energy. They'll always vote no because they believe in the red, white and blue of the Jack, and that's fine. They're allowed to have that opinion. I'll never take that away from them. I will go out and speak to 100 undecided people before I'll speak to one hardcore unionist. The Anglo-British nationalist sort of cult that they are is really quite frightening. How they cannot see past the end of their basically their nose. And it's a shame because there's so much more we could do as an independent nation than sitting with ourselves under the heel of Westminster. You know? It's crazy. What do you think, Tam? What do you think, Ken?
I think it'd be a great idea just to start demonstrating outside Holyrood until they start listening to the people's demands. I've been saying it for a wee while more.
Something that I wouldn't take part in demonstrating for that because let's say they listen to you. What power do they have to change it? They've got nothing.
Well, they could look at a survey of the people on the electoral list and then take it for there.
Like what? Like what Believe in Scotland want to do?
It's the national conversation. Just get it into the national conversation regarding independence, and as I say, even if they are sitting at 50-50, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, that's a great starting point for any campaign.
Of course. Let me just come into what you were saying there though, right? So we've talked about for the past 15, 20, 25 minutes the Citizens Convention for Believe in Scotland, which do want to survey people to see what they want for Scotland, and they're going to be surveying everybody regardless of political affinity. Okay, they want to put that together to provide the proof and the documentation for change in Scotland, to deliver that to the political entities of Westminster and Holyrood. Okay, and discover whether they can or they can't do it, and on the back of that use the 2026 election in Holyrood as a plebiscite for it. And what you're saying is standing outside Holyrood to make them listen to do the same.
Yeah.
Why stand and waste your time at Holyrood when this is going to happen this way? Let's take part in the activism, which is putting ourselves out there to become part of this convention, maybe put somebody forward as a trustee for it all and everything. Oh, hang on a sec.
First and foremost, I believe that there's more a majority in favour of independence than there ever was.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Lo and behold, as far as I'm concerned, democracy dictates. And if we are over 50%, that makes us the democratic position here in Scotland, and it should be upheld by every political party.
Of course it is. And the way that we've got to consider that as well, right, is that we didn't vote in that direction in the Westminster election, and that's because many people were disillusioned with the SNP. Okay, they didn't put independence at the top of the agenda, and they also wanted to get the Tories out. So that's two huge factors for that. So what we need to do, okay, is take the the whole national conversation that Believe in Scotland want to do as a Scottish Citizens Convention. They want to push that forward. They want to make sure that this is done properly, that the data is available by this time next year, so they can approach the political entities of Westminster and Holyrood, get the negative feedback saying we can't do it, we're not going to do it from either side, and then use that for the political parties in Scotland to work together to produce, Oh, hang on. Hold on. We have lost the connection. Hold on. Can you still hear me, Tam?
I'm on your stuff.
That's okay. It says I'm reconnecting just now.
Get a wee bit interference though. You did break up slightly.
There we go, and that's it. Okay, now I think my son again has just gone online and
In his games.
yeah, playing one of his let's suck the life out of the internet games as a whole. I'm going to go down the comments just now, okay? Sean Saez is saying, I feel like every road to independence has been blocked by Westminster or pro-Indy party infighting. Two things that you're saying there, Sean, and both of them are pretty accurate. First of all, there are constitutional roadblocks that have been put in place with legislation, with the ability for Westminster to say no, now is not the time. They'll never say no, you can't have one, but they will say now is not the time, and there'll always be something to do with that. And the pro-Indy party infighting, it's the polarised government. It's not the polarised political system that we have up here. It's not even the political system. The polarised political personalities of the different political entities and the people that follow them. However, if we were to lay down and say tomorrow we're having a referendum, everybody would vote yes that believes in independence, and we're sitting about 50-50, so it would actually work proper. Let me just bring Ken back in. Hold on a second. Thanks, Ken. So from my opinion and my point of view about this is, yes, there is infighting and there's lots of ways of doing things better. The independence community within politics needs to work together, but we've put too much reliance, Sean, on politics delivering independence. I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were on earlier, but there's never been a political force that's delivered constitutional change in the history of mankind in the same manner. There might be people that were part of political parties that were part of a movement and they get credit for it, but it's always been activists, people that would stand up and speak, people that were poets, people that were playwrights, people that were musicians, people that were confident and inspiring speakers that inspired a nation. We talked last night, was it Estonia that had the singing revolution, Tam? And that was just like everybody just got behind the songs of change and it delivered the message cohesively. And to people, I'm not suggesting that Scotland does that. What I'm suggesting is we take the pragmatic, down-to-earth point of view that Scottish people have and say, what do you want? What do you want? Are you okay there, Ken?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just having problems with my app at the moment.
That's right, I've basically got disconnected for a few seconds as well. I'm blaming Paxton for putting on a computer game again for that. I'm going to quickly go down the chat in YouTube as well, because I've ignored everybody in there. Hi Wayne, hi Aquarius, good to have you guys here. And did I see Pets there as well? Is that who's that? Woof Pet, yes, brilliant. And Barry's moderating and keeping the conversation going. There's also Robert Scrimminger, good friend of mine, in the chat too. Let me just see some of the comments. I think Salvo and Liberation Scotland is a really good way to go. Agreed. Salvo and Lib Scot have got a very good and original way of looking at our old constitution. It's not a way to move forward quickly, in my opinion, because they have to move forward in the international courts. They have to move forward within the United Nations. And that doesn't move quickly in the slightest, unfortunately. It does move at its own pace, and it does move in a way that can have, if we go to the international courts, for instance, it can have appeals put in place over and over again, and that way it could end up taking a lot longer so basically the people that originally formed Salvo or Liberation Scot might not benefit from independence within their lifetime. But I believe that the message is sound. I really, really do. I really quite like that, Highwayne. I think that they've not got anything wrong with what their message is. I quite like the idea of potentially having a vote by 2026. I think that is an achievable thing, where we can say this is what Scotland wants. There is the book. We have asked a good. I mean, see, when they sample people in Scotland for independence, when they do a survey, it's about 1,200 people. They're talking about speaking to 40 to 60,000 people with this, and that's a very positive thing. It gives a much deeper idea of what Scotland actually wants as a nation, which is good. Sorry, Furry24 in TikTok says you need a Scottish Nigel Farage. He got enough people to vote to come out of Europe. Yeah, that's done us the world of good, Furry, isn't it? That's great. I mean, yeah, I have to say that I'm very pleased that we came out of Europe, because look, we're pretty much on our own 2 feet and paying twice as much for a jar of dolmio compared to what we used to. I say dolmio because it's made in the Netherlands and shipped across 3 countries to get to the UK. Funny that. But yeah, Nigel Farage, no thank you. Don't want Nigel Farage, don't want somebody like that. Not into it whatsoever. Absolutely. Wayne in what's it called in YouTube land? Nigel Farage, oofed. What else are you saying? You feel like they've got some crackpots in what is in Salvo and Liberation Scot. I think every sort of part of the independence movement have got their highly eccentric individuals as a whole. Incidentally, just out of interest, one of the chaps from Liberation Scot, one of the founders of it, passed away. That was Ian, one of their top dogs. He is Ian, yeah, and I'll speak to anybody offline about Ian. I've never actually met him, but our paths crossed a couple of times, and very learned man. What can I say? And it's a bit of a shame that he's passed away. He wasn't well, but hopefully Liberation will be able to move on without him, and be able to function with his legacy and what he put together for everybody. Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah, very sad. So what else is there that we can mention just now? So yeah, the first meeting of the convention is next Wednesday. It's not the convention, but it's the stakeholders within Believe in Scotland and any other Yes group that's not with them to come forward and to take part in this, to discuss how we move it forward. I think there's a lot of problems with the internet tonight across the country. We got disconnected once as well, Greeny, so I think it's a bit weird. Anyway, what we're saying, so that's next Wednesday. I'm off on Wednesday, so I'll be going to, it's between 6:30 and 8:30 next week. I'm going to attend that. I will come back on Friday with the juicy gossip from it all and talk about that and how they're going to be moving it forward. In the meantime, what I do suggest is that if you go to the social media links that I've got, the lazylinks.co.uk /Saorsa, if you go there, you will find at the very top of the list a little clickable that will take you to the 47-page PDF for the proposal for the convention, and that has an awful lot of information in it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through reading it, but every time I start reading it I need to go back and start again as a whole for it all. But there you go. So has anybody got anything else that they want to say in the chat, because we will be calling it a night in about 5 minutes. We're not going to have a big 3.5 hour long live like we did last night. And I'm going to head across to Discord with anybody that wants to come into Discord. Feel free to come and join us if you're a member of our Discord. I'll hang out there for about half an hour or so. Have you got anything else you want to add to the conversation tonight, Tam?
No, I'm fine.
Listen, I appreciate your comments. You've always got some really good things to say. And Ken, thank you for sitting there being a moderator tonight as well and keeping us right. Are you okay, brother?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
good,
okay.
Good. I need to ask you, how was Claire after our conversation?
She really appreciated you coming on, and she's really interested in what we do. So it was really good. Thank you for that.
No problem at all. Just I'm going to drop not so much clearing it, but the situation. There's a lot of people out there that fall into the category of what I call independence apathy, where they feel disillusioned, that there's no direction, their energy's lapsing, and it's kind of like, what do we do now? We've tried everything. Well, we've not tried everything. You just need to, if you find yourself being disillusioned with politics, don't do politics. Do grassroots. Go and find a bunch of people that are positive, like to work together and bring a positive message into the independence story. And that's what independence is all about, is taking it forward and thinking a bit differently. And that's what Believe in Scotland are doing with this. It's not a Believe in Scotland project. It's not going to be run by Believe in Scotland. It's going to be run by the people of Scotland once it's set up and it's funded. So yeah, go to, I think it's believinscotland.org. Let me just have a quick look, because I do have their links. I will bring up their links. Let me go to the bottom of my notes, because I keep them all down there. Yes, there we go. One sec. Boom. Control C. In TikTok, I will drop this little link in just now. believinscotland.org. And I don't have, oh, I do have my screen up here. I can do it in the tube of views on that bit there. There we go. Bang. So believinscotland.org is the place to go and have a wee look at them all. Look at what they do. Look at the different projects that they've got going on. There is actually also on the 18th of September, which will be the 10-year anniversary of the referendum. They're having a rally outside Holyrood, and they're hoping to inspire a whole bunch of new people to move forward with their convention idea from there as well, which is good. So yeah, listen, gentlemen, thank you so much for being in the chat tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm going to head off in just a minute. Let me just quickly bring up the closing down window that I will use. So where is it? I'll bring up the socials again so you can see the socials. So yeah, that is basically our social links. Please, don't be afraid to go and follow us on all of our social medias. And let me just say a massive thank you to everybody for taking the time to watch tonight. And thank you, Tam. Thank you, Ken. And I will see you gentlemen later on, and let me just probably get a strike for putting out the following piece of music. So thank you guys again, and I'll see you later.
Good night, Mo.
Night night everybody in the chat as well.
I'll reach my hands out.